Hello everyone, welcome back to my journey. As you know, my name is Arthur, and I'm still grieving the loss of Sylvia, the person I shared the happiest moments with. It's all because of me. I felt a sharp pain in my head and heard Sylvia's voice echoing in my brain. She explained that as I was hearing this it would mean she already revealed her true form as a dragon and there are many things she had to explain. But this is not the moment because I wasn't ready for the truth. She also passed her will on to me, saying that my future as a mage would depend on how I used her gift. Before she left, she called me King Grey, leaving me wondering how much she knew about me and why she cared for me so much. After reflecting on her words, I realized that revenge wouldn't bring her back. I decided to continue my journey and find out where I was. Using a little mana, I climbed a tree and observed my surroundings. I realized I was in the Elshire forests. Sylvia had told me she was sending me to a place near humans. I started searching for them, using my tree climbing skills. I soon heard voices and went in that direction, hoping to find someone who could help me get home. As I approached a group of people, I realized they were slave traders. I was surprised they could control forest hounds. I knew I needed a plan to deal with them, even though I was eager to go home. Even though I was eager to attack directly, it would have been suicidal. So I waited, following them for the perfect opportunity and gathering my strength. When the moment struck, I distracted the group with a sound, forged a mana blade on my right hand, and attacked the guard in charge of the hounds. With a single strike, I cut his throat and stole his weapon. Another guard came in to check on him, and I killed him too. I slit his throat and blocked his mouth to prevent him from alerting the others. As I was making my way out, the girl inside the trailer made some noise, alerting the remaining guards to my presence. They attacked me, but the third guard was no match for me. He said that was why he died by my hands. The leader was more powerful than any of the other guards. He even started fighting bare-handed with me, trying not to damage his property. The fight was brutal, and at one point, he lifted me up by my leg. I blasted his hand, killing him. I had defeated all 4 slave traders and rescued the girl. When I looked at the girl, I saw she was a knife with silky white hair cascading down her shoulders. She was stunned and couldn't believe I had rescued her. The girl surprised me. As I prepared to leave her company, she pleaded with me to stay with her until we reached her house. When I expressed concern that the forest would be safer for her, she explained it only applied to adults. Apparently, mana beasts would target elven children as bait. As we walked, our conversations flowed more easily. We shared stories about ourselves. I learned her name was Tessia Aerolith. To explain my presence in the forest, I lied, claiming I got lost and separated from my parents. Seeing no other option, I gathered supplies from the fallen traders' packs, and we began our journey together. The unknown duration of the trip worried me, along with how I'd return home. Perhaps the elves could help with that. At night, huddled around the campfire, fatigue set in. She insisted I sleep inside the tent, arguing that being outside attracted monsters. Despite her pleas, she ended up sleeping with holding me close. Waking up with a renewed sense of purpose, we continued our journey. The unfamiliar surroundings indicated we were nearing her destination. Tessia's demeanor became lighter, and our interactions more comfortable. That night, however, a sharp pain lanced through my heart. It was unbearable, yet I masked it, not wanting to worry her. Every day, the pain intensified. It became impossible to suppress it any longer. My physical form began to transform, tissues rearranging themselves. As we neared the Elven Kingdom, another problem arose. Carrying Tessia's baggage aggravated the mana core's pain, yet our bond strengthened. She even playfully insisted on calling me Art, a nickname I teased her about. Confused by Tessia's recognition of a tree, I followed her to an unexpected sight. A giant end opened, revealing a teleportation gate leading to the Elshire Kingdom. Its beauty was breathtaking, surpassing any kingdom I knew from my previous life. A group of figures materialized before me, welcoming the princess. I was bewildered. How could I have missed this while traversing the entire kingdom? The truth struck me. Tessia was the princess of Elshire, and I had been with her all along. Tears welled up in the king and queen's eyes as they rushed to embrace their daughter after a long separation. With a bittersweet smile, I gently nudged Tessia towards them. Tears streamed down the faces of the entire family. Their reunion, after being apart for so long, was nothing short of miraculous. I also saw the elder Virion emerging from his chariot. King Aldrin tried to express his gratitude for saving his daughter's life and invited me to his residence as a guest. Although it seemed like a request to everyone, I could see in his eyes that it was actually an order. I accepted his invitation. Tessia started pulling me into the castle, which made everyone wonder why she was laughing. I didn't expect a grand welcome, thinking she was just a princess. However, the palace was far more majestic than anything I could have imagined. I couldn't help but ask myself how I could be reborn in a world that looked like a manga. The queen ordered the servants to take me to a room and help me prepare. Instead, I asked her if we could have a discussion first, as it was more important. In the dining room, we sat around the table, and I introduced myself as Arthur, coming from my humble town in the kingdom of Sapin. I knew that if I didn't introduce myself this way, they might mistake me for a child and not listen to my explanation. I admitted that I had left out a few details about Sylvia when I escaped the bandits, but it wasn't a lie. When the topic of the slave traders came up, the atmosphere changed. King Aldrin blamed humans for the kidnapping, but I argued that it was the profession of slave traders, not humanity as a whole, that was to blame. Many at the table tried to point their swords at me, but Elder Virion stopped them, asking how I had saved Tessia. He implied that I must have begged or pleaded for mercy. I responded by saying that despite being a child, I was a mage, and I had rescued Tessia by killing all of them. Just when the atmosphere was about to change again, I stated that regardless of their opinions, Princess Tessia was now safe with her family, and I wanted to return to my own family. Tessia was shocked that I wanted to leave so soon, especially when she called me Art. Everyone in the room was confused, and Elder Virion had a knowing smile. I explained that a human living in the territory of elves was not seen in a good light, so it would be better for me to leave. My main concern was reaching my family and informing them that I was safe and taking care of them. Despite the conflict between the kingdoms, the king believed I deserved a reward for what I had done. However, there was a slight issue with the teleportation gates. They could only be activated after a certain amount of time, and there was a minimum 5-year period before I could use them. The king offered to send me out of the forest with a group of guards. I went into the room to rest, but I felt something strange inside the room. It was getting more difficult to contain it. I thought that if Sylvia was with me, she would have helped me get through this. Just then, I heard a knock on the door and it opened, revealing Tess, who bumped into my stomach with his head and started calling me names, saying I was being cold to her. I was showing respect to the king and queen. Waltask was upset because I had kept the secret that Tessia was a princess. She was my first friend and didn't want me to leave. I patted her head gently and stopped her from acting childish. She showed me around the castle, and while she was showing me the globes, a knife flew towards us. I caught it and started attacking the attacker, protecting the princess. It turned out to be her grandfather. When I asked him if he really wanted to kill his granddaughter, he showed me the knife, which was just a toy. He was impressed by my reflexes. I not only dodged the knife but also caught it and fought back. He didn't think I could do that. While talking with him, I realized he was being playful and wanted to spar with me. Tessia was against it, but we started sparring anyway. I gained the upper hand and started slicing at him, but he was a master swordsman for a reason. He dodged every strike and counterattacked. Even using mana, I couldn't keep up with his movements and battle experience. I finally landed a hit on his head, but he pushed me back with all his strength. The fight ended, and he admitted that he deserved the wound he got. When Tessia asked him why he didn't go easy on me, he explained that he wanted to test me. He said that if he had gone easy on me, I would have been bullied. I casually mentioned that it was an honor to receive Elder Virion's guidance. He said he could make anything possible, and he had noticed that I was struggling with my beast will. He realized I was a steamer, someone who can control their beast will. He explained that if I continued to live like this, I might die before I could control my beast will, and he was the only one who could train me. Even though he knew how much I missed my family, the situation didn't allow me to leave. The next day, while I was having a bad dream about a shadow monster, Tess woke me up. I called her a monster, and she got mad. She was happy that I was going to stay, even though it wasn't confirmed yet. I called her princess, and she pinched me, telling me to only call her Tessia. As I was about to change clothes, I asked her to leave, and she called me a pervert. I told her not to use words without knowing their true meaning. As I was about to get into the carriage, I saw the king asking his father to consider letting me live in the kingdom of Elshire. Elder Virion was adamant about making me his disciple and having me under his direct guidance. Tessia nodded in approval. With that started the carriage, with me, Tessia, and the elder in one carriage and the others in another. As we traveled, I became more comfortable with the elder, and he started calling me by my first name. Tessia was feeling weak from waking up early, so she started sleeping on my shoulder. The elder told me that she had never had any true friends and that I had become a hope in her life. She had always been surrounded by people because of her title, but she had distanced herself from them. In the short time she had been with me, she had been her true self and smiled for the first time. As we were speaking, we arrived at our destination. Gramps introduced me to Miss Rinia, a special deviant who could assist me. We entered her house, and I saw many books about her, indicating she was a deviant. I thought she might be similar to my mother, who was also a deviant. I wondered how I could get in touch with my family. She said she was a special kind of divine being, uncommon in this world. She had a few tricks up her sleeve that could help me get in touch with my family. She was one of the special divines called a diviner who could see some of the past in the future. And even though I was meeting her for the first time, she had known that I was destined for great things. And there are parts of my life which she can't even see. As she started the process of divining me to my parents, I had to dip my head in a bowl of water and she used some weird kind of spell on me and thinking about my parents. I couldn't see them at first, but slowly they started appearing in front of my eyes. I saw them about to eat their food, made my favorite meal, and where they were about thinking about me. My mother was looking like she was on her final month of pregnancy and about to give birth. I started speaking to them, saying hi, also started explaining the situation. I wasn't, even though I wanted to come back home right now. It wasn't advised to me as my health is in a treacherous condition. Even though they couldn't believe the situation they were going through. It's the truth, and I was actually speaking to them, Anwar. I was speaking. I saw many things that happened during that time. My father settled in a big city and beginning the captain of the guards team there. I started explaining to them that there was no need to feedback for themselves. As what I did that day was definitely my choice. And I'm proud of it, even if I had to do that 100 times again. I would definitely each and every time do the same thing. And save her. I explained them that I was not really in any danger, but I had to stay in here for the time being. I even explained my dad the next time we could meet. I could already beat him in a battle and also ask him to take care of my mother and my sibling who was about to be born, seeing Jay them. If I don't know, I could speak to them ever in this way. So I told them to be happy. After I spoke with them, I saw a great look of happiness on their face which brought tears to my eyes. In this way, they could be happy ever again by not losing their child. And also that brought great amount of tears in my eyes and I cried abruptly. What would happen next? Subscribe to find out.